Hi, welcome to Nutrition Bite. I'm Olivia and I'm here today with Dr. Tim Crowe, a research scientist and a nutrition and health writer. Tim, you have a hugely popular website and social media presence, Thinking Nutrition. Thanks for being here today to give us some top tips.
I love chatting about nutrition in the media and social media, so hopefully give a few tips and pointers to all the people watching.
That'll be good. So why do you think it's important we have registered dietitians in the media?
Well, the thing about nutrition, which I both love and I hate, is that it's so relevant to everybody. Everybody eats food, everybody has experience with food, and they get different effects from that. It's also a young science where the evidence is never 100% certain. So there is a lot of confusion because recommendations do change over time as evidence changes. And anyone with any particular view to sell product or to make a lot of noise can find a bit of research to support their view and maybe intentionally or unintentionally confuse the public. So it's good having credible professionals, so those with high-level university training in nutrition and dietetics, to actually give good credible messages based upon the science today and to put it in context for people, to drown out some of the crazy in the world. That's what I say. We know some who the crazies are.
We do.
A bit too vocal on media and social media. So that's why it's good having credible voices, but also credible voices that can engage the public as well, not just, trot out the usual, eat fruit and vegetables and you'll be healthy. Yeah, we all know that, but how do you sex that message up and sell it a bit better?
Yeah.
So we want both things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So for a new graduate with no media experience, how do you get your foot in through the media door?
Okay, so for a new grad, first of all, I wouldn't be aiming to get onto a current affair tonight as your first interview. You can get into a lot of trouble with those sorts of organisations. But for someone who wants to start out, I would recommend starting out fairly easy and to get your foot in the door, working with perhaps local community radio stations, local community newspapers who are looking for good talent, and talent is the word the media use for the person being interviewed, so you're described as a good talent. Getting involved at that level, perhaps through your workplace putting out a media release, and so for some work that you're doing, perhaps a health promotion program or some good work, that then means that your media office in your organisation can help you mentor it through. If you have the luxury of doing a media training course, they are hugely valuable. They teach you all the tips and tricks of how to work with the media, how to avoid getting yourself into trouble, getting misquoted, all the things that you think can go wrong in the media can potentially go wrong if you're not prepared and trained for it. So if you haven't done any media experience, start with something easy and small. Get a website going, write a bit of content around an area that you're interested and passionate with, because sometimes journalists do a bit of Google searching, looking for some talent for a story they've got, and if you already have content around that area, they'll go to you as a professional.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully we can get into that media area after we graduate. So you did talk about how to build a media presence in that answer. So I guess, how would you promote your page or your website? Is there any tips on just how to get it out there, I guess? Yeah,
so one of the advantages of the media, it may be a little bit scary, but it also gives you a profile, and with that profile, media keep coming back to you. There's a reason why you see the same names in the media all the time, because they're available, they're good talent, they give good comment for the stories, so the media keep going to them. That raises your profile, which means in the end your social media channels also get elevated, so that's a good way. But also your social media now can actually drive your media. So the only similarity between media and social media is the word media. In traditional media, the audience is there for you, but you have to go through a journalist filter. In social media, you've already got the audience. You've got the world available to you with a little, small barrier of entry. You're getting a Facebook page started or something, but you have to find the audience and build it. So it's a lot more about having good content to engage people. So they can work together, but I think the advantage of social media, it takes a bit more work to get a good following, but once you do, you are the gatekeeper for the message completely, rather than those pesky journalists. So you want, both are quite good, and now because of the crossover, social media does become almost traditional media for people. In fact, our social media news feed becomes our reality. All we see is the headlines and the fake news and so on. So that's why I'm very passionate about having dietitians and dietetic students involved in social media to balance out the crazy in the world.
Yeah, I never thought of media and social media being separate, I suppose. I just thought it was all blurred into media.
For the public, they are the same, but if you want to get involved, you need a different approach for both of them.
That's very
and they're both good. So traditional media gives you the credibility, which can build your social media profile.
There you go. So what's your advice on creating an exciting tagline?
So taglines are a little, like a little bit of advertising blurb about what you're about. Nothing we ever do in the world is original. It's always based upon our past experience. So what I would say is, do a bit of searching on Google and other websites and brands, and look at all their taglines. Get all the words together into a big alphabet soup, and just grab random words out and put them together for something that works. That's how you'll find your inspiration.
Yeah.
Try and avoid the cliche words. I mean, health does have a role to play in what we do, but try and go a little bit one step removed from what everybody else is sort of doing. So you just got a whole bunch of different words, throw them together and see what comes out. That's how I do creativity, and if you do it with 1 or 2 drinks, that could even help a little better with some friends who are workshopping.
Sounds good to me. So this is a bit of a sort of personal question, I suppose. How much should you charge, or what's the average rate for nutrition articles?
Okay, so if you're writing content for an organisation, you're almost like a journalist for them. Now, there is no fixed figure. Now, I can give you a rough experience. Generally, organisations might pay anywhere between about 25 cents a word up to about $1 a word if you're an established writer. Now, that may sound like a lot of money, but if you haven't written a lot, it may take quite a while to write an article. There's a tendency for new grads and those developing their career to write for free. It does have a role to play initially, but if you can't keep giving away your content for free all the time, there comes a stage where you have to be charging. Yeah. And to work for less than that, you really are taking advantage of. I know fitness and health websites, they want people to smash out articles, and they're paying 5 cents a word thereabouts. You're just getting exploited, or they're just going to get really crap content. So, if you're writing professional content with your name in the byline as a health professional, minimum 25 cents to $1 a word. But there are times you will write for less, not-for-profit organisations and so on. Or if you really think that doing it for almost free was an advantage for your traffic and profile, then do it. But don't do it for too long. In the end, you need a paycheck, particularly if you're going to make a career out of it. Yeah. It's a once-off article, fine, do it for free. But if you want to go down that pathway, charge. For media, though, you never charge. I get asked a lot, how much do you get paid for the media? Nothing, because you wouldn't want to take money. Then it becomes conflict of interest. So doing media does involve time and a bit of stress and preparation, but you do it for free, partly because that's how the media works. They generally don't pay unless you've got a sensational story to sell. Hopefully that won't be any of you in nutrition. And in the end, the benefit is that you've got a credible voice with a large audience, potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of people, and that also raises your profile, which then means you've got a profile. Guess what? Writing work comes your way, which you can then charge for. That's sort of how it works longer term. Yeah.
So for our new grads and students out there, what is a top tip, your main top tip that you would give for anyone starting in the media or social media?
Okay, for someone starting in the media, social media, first of all, look at how some of the good people are doing it, and they've all got a different way of doing it. And I would say find your voice and your niche. Do you want to entertain people? Do you want to be known as a foodie person? Are you all about the science and the randomised controlled trials? Me. What's your niche? What's your key selling point? Your key point of difference? Because just being someone that promotes healthy eating and fruit and vegetables is pretty awesome. But there's a lot of other people out doing that, and it may be hard to get the leverage. So find a key point of difference, and that difference is your voice. How do you like to communicate? And if you like to have a certain voice, certain things that interest you, you'll be interested to keep doing social media ongoing, because it is a bit of work involved. So you have to find something that aligns with you. So for me, naturally, I was a career scientist. Writing about the nutrition science and the research was a natural fit for me, but that's not for everybody. But then I've developed a niche from that, whereas others are much more about the food and the Instagram and that sort of stuff. And absolutely, which I would be an utter failure at if I tried to do that sort of stuff. Utter failure. So find your niche, find your voice, find a key point of difference, and then engage with your audience, engage across channels. And in the end, communicate like a human being. Social media is all about humans having human relationships. Write like you talk. Inject a bit of your personality and a bit of your life at times into your channels. Respond and engage with your followers, and treat it like a long-term game. And if you want to get really big and popular, there are ways of doing that on Instagram. Have a hot body and get lots of followers. For a credible professional, it takes time to get that following, but that's what you want. It's a long slow, steady race.
Long-term, yeah.
Long-term plan, so treat it like that. Yeah, you're not going to get 1 million followers overnight just talking about it.
Yeah.
You have to have a bit of a strategy.
So there's a bit of a way to go still after graduation.
But you've got to start sometime, which is why I think advocate for students. Get on social media now, have a play with it, start blogging. Get a web page set up. You can get a WordPress.com account, pretty much from nothing. Just get a bit of content on there. Get yourself on Google. Maybe have a Facebook account, Instagram account, Twitter, whatever suits you. Just so you've got a presence, and then you can start developing it, and then it'll change over time as your expertise and your interests change. But you've got that to start yourself with.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you. So I think that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for your time.
Been great talking to you.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up or click subscribe.